Here's the drive shaft. Obviously, it is not supposed to look like that. I'm making the drive back from school right now to our shop in Pennsylvania. It's about a 6-hour drive. I'll probably roll in there close to 10:30. But the plan for tomorrow is to get up pretty early and make sure we have everything we need to go racing tomorrow night. We're gonna try to leave at around noon, and it's about a 4-hour drive from our shop to Georgetown. So we'll probably roll in there close to 4:30. I'm not exactly sure what time hot laps start. I can't imagine any later than 6, so probably around 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then we'll just go from there. I actually have ran at Georgetown before. It's been close to 2 years now since I've been there. It was back when I first started racing. It was one of the first tracks I traveled to outside of our little local area, tracks like Hagerstown, Winchester, that I'd been running at regularly. We decided to go there one, I think it was a Thursday, and we roll in there. It's a big half mile, probably a little bit bigger than Hagerstown. At least the corners are bigger. It's relatively flat compared to Hagerstown and Winchester, and the texture of the dirt is a little sandy, so the car acts a little bit differently on it. I guess the goals for tomorrow night are to put together a solid run and keep the car in one piece. That'd be ideal. Putting together a solid run is easier said than done, obviously. I think some key points to focus on are to be patient. It was evident after watching all the video back from last weekend that I was super impatient when I was at Hagerstown. And I think part of that was due to going from Path Valley, the quarter mile to the half mile, where at the quarter mile, everything in the corners happens very quickly. So all your driver inputs are happening pretty much back to back. And then you go to a half mile and you're kind of waiting on all of your inputs. There's a beat in between each one of them. You know, as a young driver, waiting on your inputs makes you feel like you're going slower, when in reality you're not. And speeding those up just makes you slower overall because your exits are going to be trash. And that was my biggest problem at Hagerstown. More specifically, I need to slow down the rate at which I am yawing the car, how quickly I'm getting the car sideways. And then I need to slow down on how quickly I am feeding wheel back into it, or how quickly I'm counter steering. And then I need to slow down my throttle pickup point. I was getting back the fuel too quickly, as well as the other two things, and it just wasn't working well. So if I can be mindful of that, we should put together some pretty solid corners here at Georgetown. I also need to be aware of what the track is doing and what my tires are doing. At Hagerstown during our feature, I was pretty solid the first 10 laps, but as the track and my tires started to go away, I wasn't adapting properly, and that really slowed me down at the end. I was driving the last 10 laps how I was driving the first 5 laps, and it just wasn't working out. So I gotta be mindful of that, and then just being consistent overall. If I can put those 2 points together and just be consistent every corner, we're gonna have a pretty solid night, I feel like. That's the plan for tomorrow, and I'm gonna put this thing down before I wreck, and I guess we'll see you in the morning. All right, we're all loaded up, and we're on our way to the track right now. We decided to leave a little bit early because we're gonna make a quick stop at Hoosier to pick up a small tire order and check that place out for a little bit. Devin behind the wheel once again. Then we got someone new with us today. You might have seen him floating around at the end of the last video. The Bulldog, Kamala back there. He's Booz Brothers Racing's lead tire specialist, nationally ranked stick guy, and future Hagerstown Crown Vic track champion. That's pretty good, I like that.
Oh yeah, and ladies and gentlemen, and don't forget, he's a registered EMT.
Ooh.
So he serves multi-purposes. So that's the living, breathing Paw Patrol back here.
There you go, ladies. Man in uniform.
He's single.
Single. Hell yeah. We're open trailer racing once again. You know, as God intended. I think it's in the Bible somewhere. The 11th commandment or something. Do you know what we should do? We should start a series where everybody runs open trailers all around the country.
And crate motors.
And crate motors. We don't even need car rules, just trailer rules. What do you think of that?
And the only thing you get is a roll of duct tape and 3 spare tires and an extra trailer tire.
Hell yeah. Dude, I can't even put that in the video. Someone's gonna steal that.
I know.
That's pretty good. All right, we're all done here at Hoosier. Stacked up with the goods. We're ready to go to the track.
He was my boss when I was there.
just got unloaded here at Georgetown, and here's a first look at the track. Pretty big. It's the turns that are so long here. Straightaways aren't that long, but the turns are just, they go on forever. So I really got to be careful with how I'm setting the car, kind of just ease into it. But pitch is starting to fill up here. We got some pretty solid drivers here tonight. The super late model is going to be pretty stacked. You got Ross Robinson over there. He's a Lucas Oil dirt driver. Rick Eckert over there. He won Outlaws back in 2011. And then Troutman over there. He's a current World of Outlaws driver. I think he's a rookie this year, but he's like top 5 in points, I'm pretty sure. So super should be a really good race. I don't know what we have for crates yet. Last time we were here, like 2 years ago, we only got about 10. So hopefully we get a decent field. All right, so we're getting started here at Georgetown. We ended up getting 11 cars, which is more than last time, but still not a whole lot. The cars that are here though are very, very good. I ended up drawing the #1 hill, so I'll be starting on the pole of heat #1. And it looks like the track is going to be pretty fast, pretty hammered down for hot laps of the heat race. And then when the sun goes down, it might dry up a little bit. It's a little windy here today, so we'll see what happens there, but I'm excited to get out there. We just ran hot laps. Felt really good. I was wide open for most of those laps there, and it felt fast. I think we timed it at like a 19.7, which is 5th fastest. I feel like I got held up a little bit by the car in front of me. I probably could have had a little bit more from those laps, but it is what it is. That'll put us, well, I'm already starting on the pole for the heat. And I was told by Amanda Robinson that if I don't go into turn 1 wide open, she's going to punch me in the face. So we'll try to keep that from happening. I feel pretty confident. That was a really good hot lap session. back slab I went around, like normal, just popped out of gear. That's why I pulled in. Alright, so that heat race did not exactly go how we wanted it to. That was entirely my fault. The car was a little bit tight. We tightened it up a little bit between the hot laps and the heat race, and I don't think it needed it. We felt like the track was going to go away more than it did. Went into 1 and 2, and I felt pretty decent. I didn't lift, like Amanda said. I just want to put that on the record. But I ended up getting tight, center in the corner, and had to pedal out of it a little bit, which that's when, I think it was the 84 drove up next to me. And then from there, I was just trying to experiment in each corner, and I kept getting worse and worse. There were a couple laps that were pretty decent. I was riding around in second. I don't know, it was just weird. Definitely different than what I've ever done before. Yeah, I just wish we weren't so tight there. I mean, that really screwed me over. And I also wish I was doing a little better job at setting my car in the corner. I was driving it way too straight. I needed to pitch it in more. I should have at least been trail braking more than I was. It is what it is. Towards the end there, I don't know, it started acting weird. It popped out of high, just in the middle of the corner, middle of 1 and 2 there. I'm not sure what that was about, so I pulled into the bottom, but I finished 6th. And I think that'll probably put me like 11th in the feature, so last. Hate for that to happen. I really wanted to have a good finish there, but you know, that's racing. It's a little after 2 a.m. and we just go back to the shop. Not exactly what I would call a solid night. That's for sure. It turns out in that feature there, you saw I rolled out and I popped it in a high and it just didn't go anywhere really. Turns out the drive shaft spun itself off the yoke. You know, they just weren't connected anymore. They were connected enough to get me around the pits and onto the track and roll around in low gear. But once I got in the high, I was just like, man, this thing won't go. What's going on? So I rolled around the track, got it back into low. And once I did, it was just completely disconnected. And had to get pushed back to the pits. Then we just loaded up and left. So that ended our night. Would have been really nice to go and make some laps, because I feel like I had the right idea of how to drive that place. I just wanted to get some more practice. I'll actually show the drive shaft here. Here's the drive shaft. Obviously it is not supposed to look like that. And then we have some oil all over the transmission here as well. So we're gonna have to pull both those out tomorrow and throw some spares in. Still gonna try and run at Hagerstown with the limiteds. The limited's all ready to go here. It's just, this thing's giving us trouble. Overall recap of the night. Felt good in hot laps. Maybe a little bit tight, which we made the decision to tighten the car up a little bit more for the heat race because we figured the track would fall off some, and it did not. We actually picked up 2/10 in our heat race. I think we were in like a 19.5 or something, and I sucked in that, so that tells you how fast the track was. But we were going to go back out for the feature, and we made a decision to tighten it up again because watching the other features, we saw that the supers dropped like a 1.5 seconds on their lap time, or 1.5 seconds slower with their lap times. I think a lot of my trouble today was, it's been so long since I've been in the car and so long since I've been at a track that has had a lot of traction all night. I rarely ever race at a track that's hammered down like that, so it's pretty much a new experience. I'm basically relearning how to drive these things. It's not easy. That being said, I am really glad we did go down there and race anyway. Even though we didn't get to run a feature or anything, it was still a valuable experience to be running on a hammer down track like that. Felt fast, had fun for the most part, till shit broke. Tomorrow we're gonna try and thrash on this thing and get it ready for Hagerstown and just try to get some more practice there. I'm actually pretty excited to go back there. I feel like I kind of have an idea of what I want to do, a little bit of a game plan. Just feeling slightly dejected after tonight. On another note, the first video did a lot better than I thought it would. I mean, it's been out for 2 days now, and I just checked it. It's got over 600 views, and I was shocked, but that's awesome. And I wanted to thank everybody who reached out, or I talked to them in the shop or at the track, that just showed some support. I mean, it means a lot. I really appreciate that. I really wasn't sure about doing this whole recording this thing, but you know, I've had fun doing it so far. So I'm gonna try to keep it up, and this will just kind of be a little bit of a to be continued for tomorrow. We'll do a whole separate video for that. Try to have a little more fun there. Yeah, thanks for watching. Please consider liking and subscribing. Help me out a lot. And yeah, see you tomorrow.